Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gaming Grotto. I'm Anastasia Laserbeam and today I finally get to talk about Pikmin 3 on the Wii U. Ugh, it's about time. For those of you who may not know, Pikmin 3 is a real-time strategy game and a direct sequel to Pikmin 2. If we're going to talk about Pikmin 3, we need to talk about the graphics. Oh my god, the graphics. They are beautiful, gorgeously rendered and textured. Ugh. There's even atmospheric blur in the background characters, and when you get closer, they zoom in and come into focus, and when you step out, they go back out of focus. It just, everything is so detailed. Even the little pellets you have that you carry off to the onion, they're even beautifully textured and have all the little details. It feels very real, almost live action, and it's just really, really gorgeous. It's so beautiful that Nintendo even knows how beautiful they are, because they added a camera feature to the Wii U gamepad, so you can take pictures of your Pigment in action, take a picture of the boss you just beat, and post it to the Miiverse, so you can show off all to your friends how beautiful the game is, and all your accomplishments of Pikmin 3. Very smart on Nintendo. Next, I want to talk about gameplay and functionality, because Nintendo added a lot of new features that were sorely missed in Pikmin 1 and 2. And I feel they made a lot of improvements, and this game feels very, very polished because of it. First off, there are 3 ways to play Pikmin 3. As default, you can use the Wii U gamepad, have the map screen here. Pretty simple, standard. Or, for more accuracy throwing your Pigment, you can use the Wiimote Plus and Nunchuck. And you can use the Wii U Gamepad Pro. Yay! I've been so lonely since that Assassin's Creed 3 game. Man, was that terrible! Is that why you never used me since then? So with these 3 controllers, you have a very diverse way to play. And you can also use the gamepad as a map. And you can use the Wii Motion Plus to throw your Pigment, so you can have the best of both. Now, as for functionality and efficiency, Pikmin 3 probably added the best feature that's ever come out in Pikmin, or at least in my opinion. The Go Here button. It's amazing and I love it, and let me explain. Now, Pikmin 3, like Pikmin 2, you get more than one captain, so you can have one team go off this way, one team go off that way, but in Pikmin 2, you could only control one person at a time, so while I'm sending Olimar over here, Louie would be stuck here until I got to my destination, and then I'd have to switch, and I couldn't control and have them both doing things at the same time. Now, with the Go Here button, I can go on my Wii U gamepad, I can be like, okay, go here. Now I can move the cursor on the Wii U gamepad to tell one captain to go one place and they'll be on their way. Then I can tell the other captain, hey you, there's a spot over here I want you to go, there's some treasure, dig it up. And they'll go on their path, so now they're both walking at the same time doing their stuff. Also, some areas require a teeny bit of platforming to get to, not a lot, just a little bit, enough to mess you up a few times. But with the Go Here button, it automatically successfully gets your Pigment that place each time. So you don't have to worry about that. Another new feature of Pikmin 3 is targeting. You can actually target specific parts of your enemies, or flowers, or butterflies to have a very efficient first attack. Well, that's a bit of amazing increased functionality I'll talk about, is a very simple feature that at the end of the day, remember, you'd always have to run back to the onion to get all your Pigment in so they don't get eaten. Well, this time, you don't really have to do that. As long as your Pigment are relatively close to the onion, they'll go back inside the onion themselves. Hey, look at that. Ooh, getting smarter! Also, if your Pigment happen to be out in the field in your unit with one of your captains, they'll also automatically be safe. This increases the amount of time that you can use per day, so you don't have to keep running back to the onion. Nintendo even put in a Pigment in danger feature, so that if any of your Pigment are at risk, it'll let you know exactly which Pigment are at risk, and you can use the Wii U gamepad to find them and instantly trail back. and it gives you this warning way ahead of time. You always have time to get all your pigment and get them to safety. So the amount of pigment lost per day because of that reason will be virtually zero or very close. I'm not going to give away anything about the story, but I will say that instead of collecting treasure every time, now you're collecting fruit. And fruit is a necessity because it allows you to keep going per day, because every day you consume 1 jar of juice that you got from fruit. This puts an emphasis on the importance of multitasking. Now of course with each pigment game you've always been introduced to 1 or 2 more new pigment. Well, the new pigment for this game are the rock pigment and the winged pigment. The rock ones, unfortunately, are a replacement for the purple pigment. They can be thrown to break glass walls or crystal objects. In battle, the initial first throw you have at an enemy with a rock pigment, they will cause a lot of damage. And on a plus side, the rock pigment cannot be crushed or pierced like other pigments, so their survival tends to go up, and great to have in a boss battle, although they still can be eaten. The other new type of pigment, I said, is the winged pigment. These are the only pigment that can fly. Now, if they can fly, this means right away, hey, I can take them in water and they won't drown. Woohoo! One of my first uses for the winged pigment was to use them whenever I had to traverse over water. Not in the water per se, but just having to go across it, because they will just fly across that water. As a part of full disclosure, the purple and white pigment are technically in Pikmin 3, but they're only in the challenge mode, which is like, the challenge mode is called mission mode, where you have like 3 or 4 tasks to do in a allotted amount of time, and whoever can do them first wins. So basically they're not in the main game, and that's why you only find the adorable purple pigment and white pigment. Please, why did you take away my purple pigment? I loved my purple pigment. Baby, come back. How do I feel about Pikmin 3? I love it. It is all the fun of the first and second pigment, with all the little nitpicky stuff polished, taken care of. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but my god, it comes so close that I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, because it's almost shut up and take my money good enough. It's really good. Just go out and get it and experience it. If you don't have a Wii U, buy it and find a friend who has a Wii U and play it. Even though it doesn't have my purple and white pigment, it's still pretty fantastic. Thanks for watching another episode of the Gaming Grotto. I'm Anastasia Laserbeam, and I hope to see you on the next Gaming Grotto. Baby, come back.